if you don't want to fix toilets and sinks and stuff, you don't have to. You can invest your money passively and just lay back, eventually retire in the sand and let someone else fix that and just be a passive investor, a limited partner investor. So I just want people to understand you have a choice. You have choices, you have options.
Hello, hello. Jenny Bowling here with Pivotal REI, the real estate investing podcast, brought to you by Pivotal Real Estate Investments, where we help investors build wealth and income through commercial real estate that also improves communities. And today we have Terrence Logan with us. Terrence, thank you for coming on.
Yes, good afternoon. It is wonderful to be on and a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, likewise, likewise. Well, so you and I just met at a conference being held in the big merger of Already Mentor by Dave Lindell retiring and handing off to Tim Mai, who's known under Hero Alliance, which is very interesting to our industry in that Ari Mentor taught people how to find deals, how to run deals, and then resell, which is in a way like flipping a property on a grander scale. Multifamily, we're talking multifamily, but it's flipping in a big way, commercial real estate, which a lot of us never thought we could do because it's so expensive. But as you and I know, and we keep trying to tell everybody else out there, different now, you can do it too. So, and then Hero Alliance is used to raising capital mainly for deals. So it brings the two together, and it's going to be such an interesting thing to see how things evolve because it's two big groups, really. In any case, I was happy to meet you, and I want you to go ahead now and talk about how you got into this world.
Yes, absolutely. I was initially introduced to the the other group of multifamily called Multifamily Mindset in 2024, and seeing a promotional video on YouTube, a gentleman named Tyler Devereaux, that really sparked my interest. And I was already interested in doing some of these big things like investing in a commercial property or maybe a hotel or a huge residence like an apartment building. So I went to his event here locally in San Diego, where I currently live, and really sparked my interest and piqued my interest. And I got involved right away. I was like the first one to stand up for the mentorship program in my class. So that really sparked my interest, and I didn't realize I could invest in multifamily. That's how I got started.
So you went the route of many people that goes to one of these events and you buy into the mentorship programs and they range in price from 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000. Easy. So
39,997 is what mine was for sure, to
that
be specific. $39,997. The
exactly.
mentorship
So
price
we
leading.
spend a lot of money in this industry making sure that we know what to do, how to do it. We follow best practices.
Hmm.
We're compliant, legal, and do the whole nine yards because it's a very serious business. Taking people's
Yes.
money, we have to
Yes.
be good stewards. So,
Yes. Being a
yeah,
good steward. Yes. Most of
right,
all. Absolutely.
right. And don't lose anybody's money. Number one,
Without
just like
question.
profit, right? And you obviously have learned all that too. And so tell us more about what you're working on then now.
Yes. So currently, and getting involved uh, in real estate the past 2 years now. I initially took out my 401k, and I didn't realize that you could take out your 401k to invest in real estate or anything. I thought that was a crazy idea that I had heard, and I heard about it a couple of times. And at that real estate event, talked to a couple of the strategists and coaches there, and got hooked up with a tax and wealth strategist, and he helped me take out my rollover 401k into a self-directed 401k account. And initially, I invested into three multifamily deals, probably within the first 2 months after initially hearing about the program and jumping on board, getting involved in the mentorship program. And from there, from those first three properties, taking out another personal loan and a couple of other credit cards at low interest, I got a fourth multifamily property and a small resort outside Austin, Texas. So those now I'm involved in those five LP. positions. And as of this year, 2025, I am now co-GP, co-general partner on my first operator deal on the general partnership side in North Carolina. So now I operate on the limited partner as an investor and on the general partnership as a operator on both sides.
You're obviously an action taker. That's a lot to get into in your first 2 years. It really is. And it's been a challenging time for a lot of people right now too,
Mhm.
because our interest rates are still elevated. Nobody thought they go up that far that fast and stay this long.
Yeah.
So it's now with the war in Iran and AI busting loose, it's still a couple variables, but how are your deals performing?
Yeah. So the first year the stabilization period that I've you hear about getting in the deal. So having the stabilization period from really the end of 2024 till the previous quarter at the end of 2025, and now jumping into the first quarter of 2026, are the deals. Most of them are actually at similar occupancy. And we know that interest and insurance has jumped up a bit. We know that we all know that in the real estate space, and making sure that these deals they were very underwritten very conservatively, like a lot of deals in multifamily, and two of them should be soon generating their first returns, the first preferred returns on those deals. So I'm still getting updates on the deals, and obviously there are people who are, either some people are either out of work. There's, in different markets, you have different employment issues going on. But the markets that we did get in, they were diversified and diversified employment. Population was growing there steadily. So I'm still getting updates on where they're currently headed in direction, but the fundamentals remain strong in all those markets. Diversified operators that operate in those markets, and we still have the strong fundamentals underneath. So I'm looking forward to what the future holds as as we grow, continue to grow, and get that equity multiplied here coming up as we get in an upturn shift in the market as well.
So did you say it's different operators too?
Yes, so these are four different multifamily operators, and then my small resort is going to be is a brand new resort. So the multifamily properties have four different sponsorship groups in the syndication model, where you're invested in with different investors in those investments. Those are four different apartment complexes around the U.S., and one's in Tulsa, one's in Springfield, Massachusetts, one's between Atlanta and Macon, Georgia, and the fourth one, I think for a second, is in Des Moines, Iowa. And then my small resort, brand new resort, upcoming out right outside Austin, Texas, and that'll be brand new. That's not a multi-family uh, property, but it will be a commercial space, one of those low energy, solar energy, clean, clean spaces, reusing recycled materials, spa-like experience called the Heavens. So very much looking forward to those.
Neat. Well, you
Yeah,
know what? You probably know this, but just for the listeners' sake, I'm going to say it because, you know, those of us that want to be on the general partnership side and be more active,
yeah,
there has to, by virtue of just the law of running a business, be fewer of them than there are investors, the LPs. But what you just described is the perfect LP approach because you diversified your investments between operators and between geographic regions, and it's so easy to do that these days because and not have to do the work because you're not having to do the work and you can leave it and find the sponsors you like, know, like, and trust,
sure.
and let them do it. And that makes it so much easier to diversify your portfolio. And so terrific job doing that and terrific way to describe it for the audience, really. But There is, as you know, and I know, a lot of people that want to be hands-on. They feel like, oh, I don't know if I can trust. I feel like I need to do. And, it only takes a little while with a multifamily deal to realize just how much there is to do. You really need to leave it to the professionals, especially if you're raising capital.
Yes.
If you're giving money to somebody, you want to make sure they're hiring the pros to spend it, right?
Yes,
Get the
absolutely.
biggest bang for this. So I think you just explained that perfectly, Billy. But so you have the co-GP deal that you're in, and performance has been hard for a lot of them because, like you said, insurance and taxes on top of those interest rates also really escalated. So it's good that you're not, some deals have gone bad. There's stress in the
Sure.
market. Let's just address the elephant in the room because
Sure.
that's the perfect time to be getting into this right now because there's blood in the streets, like they say, and that's the best time to be poised and ready to jump in my opinion. At least that's what I say. And I know since you were at the same conference, there's I think everybody in real estate feels that way. Although it's
Yes.
location. I mean, there's still an oversupply in pockets.
Mhm.
And it may take a while to burn that off and stuff, but yeah, there's still good stuff.
Yeah, and in the add on to that, I feel like that with your strong market where you're at and the co-GP deal that I'm on being in outside Charlotte, North Carolina, on one of their judiciary markets, Shelby, North Carolina. They're building a fast lane highway going right through. I think it's 40, 45-minute drive to downtown Charlotte from there. And there's still a lot of jobs. There's a lot of tech jobs that are coming to that particular area as well. I mean, there's known as a research triangle between there and Raleigh, Durham, and Greensboro, North Carolina. And that part of the country, obviously, people have been investing in the Sun Belt for the last few years heavily now. There's a lot of great opportunity out there, and this property was closed at 100% occupancy. And the previous owner putting in $1.5 million of their money in, directly into fixing up the property so that investors don't have to do that on their own. Those are the types of smart decisions that we like to see. And that's why I wanted to jump on there and helping other investors and people getting on board a deal like that. And the operators actually invested in that property themselves. So I like looking at that. But I would also, whenever you're ready, I'd love to tell you guys about my background and just how I really got started and kind of, family values and all that, because
I was
I
just going to
love
take
being in
it
this
there. I
space.
want to be sure that you talk about each of your credentials. You have a lot of credentials. So go
Oh,
ahead.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So my background a little bit, you want to hear? Yeah, absolutely. So truly, it's
Oh,
been
wait. I'm sorry. Before you get into
yeah,
that, because I'm going to ask you two times, all right?
sure.
One in the beginning, one at the end. Tell the audience what you want their takeaway to be.
Absolutely. I truly want the audience to understand who I am, like where I come from. There's always different pillars that we stand on. Some people grow up having money handed to them or a trust account. Some people have to grow up fighting to get money every cent that dollar that comes to them. Some people, gradually, go from a middle class family, get educated and stay in a certain level and don't achieve those higher levels of success in something like real estate or acquiring properties, hotels, apartment buildings and office buildings and the such, and these diversified different portfolios that you can add to just like stocks and bonds and some of the basic things. So I would just really want you guys to get out of this seeing kind of the resources that was handed to me. Just kind of just a little bit about my background of how my family grew up and what really propelled me in the mindset that I felt growing up until adulthood those are the main keys I want you guys to get out of that, and I'll
Okay.
I'll share that with anyone and talk about that later as well on any call.
So go ahead and tell about your journey.
Yeah, so the main question I have for the audience, so I have pose a question to them. Kind of fun. What if I told you guys I grew up with an abundance of choices and options and thought it was a prison cage? Perplexing question. That sentence really lived in my chest for years, and an honest confession that the lack of abundance and choices I had to survive felt like a prison without walls. Abundance and choices may sound like freedom, but we only had an abundance of survival options. So I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, where a full house really meant a full heart. 20 plus cousins packed into my grandparents' home, and my grandpa, we called him Honeyman. He showed us how to turn struggle into sweetness, how to stretch nothing into something. He made honey, like real honey, the kind that that paid bills and fed your bellies. But even more than that, he taught us alchemy, how to transform what little we had into gold. And so we had love in abundance, but we didn't have any blueprints. And we what we had was improvisation. So I feel like my family always hustled at flea markets, started before the sunrise, favors called in, and just really a constant pressure of making the right choice to keep the lights on. And so freedom to me in those days felt like noise, too loud to hear what direction I needed to go in. And freedom arrived like a thousand small options. Work tonight or tomorrow, take this gig or that one, move when the rent is due, or just stay and pray, like people say. And so the abundance of survival options really taxed my attention and energy until like that freedom itself, it felt like a trap. So like, every hustle was a lesson in resilience, and every side job was a masterclass in resourcefulness. And so growing up really felt like an abundance felt like a cage, and not because I lacked love or I lacked family, but because I lacked a plan for true abundance. So, like for sustainable wealth, future that I could actually build, the reason I describe this a cage that's not made of like steel bars, it's almost like you're trapped and you don't understand that you're trapped. So growing up with limited resources, it really teaches you how to stretch, survive, and make do. And but stepping into adult prosperity here requires a different kind of thinking, a different shift, a mindset shift from scarcity to an abundance mindset, and focusing on not what you have, but surrounding yourselves with people with that abundance mindset and creating win-win situations, and training your mind to recognize those opportunities when they come, like this one, as I start networking and start working with people of different forms of life. And so, like, I have a W-2 job, networking with my company, going to real estate seminars, like I just described, and multiple business events. And I started to free myself from that cage mindset. So that cage we just talked about became a framework, a boundary that I would shatter, and a starting point that I would launch from. And most importantly, a reminder of how far I've climbed. Because now I feel like I breathe pure air and I stand in exponential freedom. So I'm no longer trapped by what I didn't know. I am unleashed by everything I've learned. And that cage didn't hold me, it freed me. So again, to your audience, I ask, what if I told you I grew up with an abundance of choices and options and thought it was a prison cage? So once again, that freedom that feels differently today, the cage I truly once felt actually became a classroom that taught me how to steward resources, scale responsibly, and lift others as I climb. So if I grew up with an abundance of choices and thought it was a prison cage, that mistake became my greatest teacher. I turned improvisation into process, scarcity into strategy, survival into long legacy. So that crowded house didn't just shape me, it made me. And that's why I wanted to share my story, the resourcefulness, resilience, refusal to quit. That's really what I'm made of. And I try to display that. And I feel like that's my greatest competitive advantage with Logan Acquisitions here.
All right. Well, I think that really was eloquent. That is probably a better takeaway than the short version. But yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, turning your cage into a framework. I like that. Really.
Yes, I feel we're all in the, being in these different spots. We some of us feel like we're a little bit more free, but I feel like the majority of us, I'd probably say 80 plus percent of us feel like we're in some kind of cage. It could be whatever you're going through with your personal circumstances, family, friends, obviously spousal situations, job, but especially job and the resources trying to getting this freedom, and freedom of money and time and trying to free yourself and your family of circumstances. And this is what we try to do, try to help elevate others. And at Logan Acquisitions, that's what we're all about. And this podcast being freeform, I love the opportunity to talk to others like yourself and others out there and just truly see where people are at. I'm real. We're real, and I want to have real conversations.
Well, and we obviously, especially if we're going to go buy some of this stuff,
Mhm.
sometimes we have a lot of mindset stuff to go through to enable
Yep.
us to think of ourselves. Even me, I was acquiring multi-million dollars worth of property, but for the government, someone else's money,
Okay.
right? And deep pockets.
Mhm.
Um, so even for me, it was a twist, But in any case, yeah, we work on it. But even the LPs often
Yep.
need mindset work to be able to receive more abundance, right?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, that was good to talk about.
Yeah.
But tell
That
us,
always a shift, I feel like, just
yeah,
to go from that limited mindset to just understanding you don't have to be afraid anymore. There are people that understand where you're at, and I feel like the shift in mindset is the most important thing to free you to get over our fears. Why can't I be in this space? Like, how do I invest in real estate or give my family, plant the seeds for that to sprout and grow and understand that there's more that I can do in this life. And the short time that we're here, we can do something. We can create a legacy. That's what I'm trying to do. Create a legacy for the Logan name right here, both sides of my family, my mom and dad's side, the people that came before me, I do this for them. I'm doing this for their legacy. They have given me an opportunity, and I want to do this for them, and understanding that family legacy.
perfect. So we're running out of time. We'll talk real briefly about what other types of assets you're interested in. We talked a little before coming on, and it sounded like there's maybe one or two other type, maybe more.
Yeah. I feel like there's always something that we could always be diversifying ourselves in doing. So me j jumping in and trying to getting into a new resort, I would love to get in that class, whether Um, I feel like mixed asset class, whether it could be office based, but assisted living facilities. I've now spoken to a couple of people regarding that space in commercial properties. There's so many different types of commercial properties. I used to trade a little bit of Bitcoin. That's a lot of those different trades are. It's really nice to diversify yourself and finding different areas where you can succeed in. So I know a lot of people with these multifamily groups already mentoring where I came in with multifamily mindset. Now peak partnership. Uh, People trade, going through the apartment building and the assets of owning an apartment building under your name or investing in one um, is a great place to start. Great place to, and there's so many different types of different buildings, like we said, assisted living, RV parks, different spaces out there, mobile home parks.
Yeah,
So I am interested in a couple of those other ones and exchanging and doing the 1031 exchange and putting some of my money in those other places as well.
good for you. Yeah, it's a wide world, of choices out there. It really is. And so why don't you tell the listeners one more time what your takeaway is, and then we'll move into closing out here.
Absolutely, for sure. My takeaway from this, outside of that mindset shift, that understanding and growing your mindset, um, truly, this is the most important thing that you could take away from this. I want someone to get an understanding of just some of the hurdles that I've experienced growing up and some of those freedom challenges and understanding the time freedom, the money freedom, all the different things that we want to have to investing in a class of assets like real estate, of multifamily real estate that a lot of us didn't think we could get involved in outside of maybe owning, you know, a single family, house and calling contractors. If you don't want to fix toilets and sinks and stuff, you don't have to. You can invest your money passively and just lay back, eventually retire in the sand and let someone else fix that and just be a passive investor, a limited partner investor. So I just want people to understand you have a choice. You have choices, you have options. And your option of letting me get on this podcast, I thank you for it. Ms. Guinea, it is a pleasure, and I look forward to talking to everyone as well.
So good. Well, and as I ask everybody towards the end, is there a pivotal person or event that brought you to where you are today or that's pushing you towards some set goal?
Absolutely. I feel like my mindset shift is probably the first thing, but my generational family heritage is the biggest thing that's pushing me towards success, pushing me towards being successful and passing assets down in my family. My niece and nephews, actually, or my two nieces and nephew, their names are already on my real estate trust and my trust account already. So the generations that follow me, I want to have something to pass down to let people know that I truly, when I'm buried and I'm 6 feet underground, I lived for a purpose. I have a purpose for being here. There's a purpose for my life, and I want people to know that. And any type of, I feel like, positive interaction, but me leaving something behind and truly leaving behind a legacy, that is the main thing that I want people to understand about what we're trying to do here at Logan Acquisitions.
Very good. Okay. So tell people how they can reach you.
Absolutely. So this QR code right here is my Calendly account. If you guys want to scan your phones, scan that. I can also leave it. We can also leave it here, either in the chat or in the description, as well. You guys can contact me via email, Terrence at loganacquisitions.com. Again, my name, Terrence. That's three E's, at Logan Acquisitions, that name, .com. And also, I'm on LinkedIn, Terrence Logan, Terrence, and Logan, once again, on LinkedIn. Again, those are the three probably best ways to contact me here.
All right. And that will all go in the show notes too. So that would be easy if people will just scroll, right?
Absolutely. Make sure you scroll and find that.
Yeah, and
And
I always forget to say, don't forget to like and share too, because it really
yes,
helps to promote the show. And anyway, so thank you very much for coming on. I enjoyed that. Hopefully you will or you did too, and we'll be airing it probably in maybe a couple months right now. But yeah. Okay.
it is a pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it.